When selling on Amazon, your product photos are doing the most work when it comes to convincing shoppers to buy your items. I like to tell Amazon sellers that their main product photos should contain enough information to convert a browsing shopper into a customer without them needing to view any other part of the listing. Now obviously you can't put price and reviews into your images, but they should be at least 90% sold on your item just by viewing your main product images. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at what Helium 10 recommends when it comes to designing your main product images for your Amazon listing. Now I agree with most of the stuff that they say, but not with all of it. So let's jump into this Helium 10 blog post and see what kind of value we can extract. Alright, so I just had to show you guys what Helium 10 is preaching because it's a lot of the same stuff that I preach in a lot of my YouTube videos when it comes to content on the Amazon listing. You've got to have top quality images, you've got to have videos, but mostly this post is going to be talking mostly about images, but images are very, very powerful when it comes to actually selling your Amazon products. So now you should be able to see my screen and let me kind of show you this Helium 10 post that I came across. Alright, so it's called How to Get the Absolute Most Out of Your Amazon Listing Images. Now I just kind of highlighted some of the stuff in here that I really wanted to nail down on, but basically they say here, in e-commerce, the quality of your visuals is what will dictate your success on Amazon. Now I highly agree with that statement. Now here's a little quote from Perry Belcher. If you don't know who this guy is, he's basically a big time marketer, very knowledgeable in the marketing space. And he says here, people on Amazon buy photos, they don't buy products. And I 100% agree with that. And I see it all the time that Amazon sellers are photoshopping their product into stock photos. They're doing 3D mockups that just look bad. They don't look accurate at all. And I highly recommend against that. Always go the real life route. Try to get real life images of your products because it's all about accuracy. You want to show the shopper exactly what they're going to get when they come to buy your product. You don't want to set their expectations way up here and then you under deliver and then you have a return on your hands, and then when you get a bunch of returns, that's just going to hurt your rankings, it's going to hurt your business, and it's going to make you less profitable, and overall you're going to get more bad reviews. So you want to deliver accurately on your promise. So how do you do that? Well, it comes to the product images and just making them look as accurate as possible. Here's another little blurb from the blog here. It says, sellers who don't focus on quality Amazon listing images are leaving money on the table for their competitors. And this is definitely true because if you're not taking your images to the next level, then your competitors are, and they're going to leave you in the dust, and they're going to actually steal the sales that may have gone to you. They're actually going to go to your competition. All right, so Helium 10 says you should be focusing on two main things, your click-through rate and your unit session percentage. Now the click-through rate is defined here as the percentage of visitors to the product page who were shown the listing in the search results. So they saw your listing in the search results. How many people actually saw that as an impression versus how many people actually clicked on it? That's what your click-through rate percentage is. Unit session percentage is basically your conversion rate. So how many people actually purchased your item versus the amount of people who actually viewed your product. So how do you go about increasing your click-through rate? Well, first, you've got to maximize that space in that little box that Amazon gives you. You want to make your product as large as possible and fill out as much space as possible in that little box. Also, you want to make sure that your image, your main image especially, but all images, should be at least 3000 by 3000 pixels. They need to be high res so that when they mouse over it on a desktop, it kind of like does that magnifying thing where it kind of zooms in and shows the image larger. Basically, what you really want to focus on is stopping the scroll, as you can see right here. If somebody's in the search results and they see your product, you want to be able to stop that scroll and grab their attention out of all the other listings that they're seeing on that page. Now, one thing that Helium 10 recommends that I don't really recommend is they're saying you need to make a 3D rendering of your product. They say 3D renders are ideal for bulky or oversized items like furniture, product packaging like a box or a bottle, products with a high volume of variations, and reflective products like glass. Now, I know for sure firsthand how hard it is to photo shoot products that are very reflective. You can see the light coming through on their bottles, but we've just gone around this by just photoshopping out the light reflection, or we just leave it in there because it's real life. I mean, in order to light a bottle, you're gonna see a reflection. You're gonna see the room a little bit in the reflection of the glass. So, I mean, 3D renders can set the expectations up here, and then when they get your product or your packaging, or maybe they thought the scale was bigger because your 3D render showed it or made them believe that it was bigger. So I'm not a huge fan with 3D renders. I'm all about just accuracy. Putting it on the table, putting some things around it that they know the size of, or they can have an idea like a hand or some kind of body or something like that. So they know scale wise, or even just putting little measurements of like lines and saying this is 9 inches and this is 6 inches. So really it all comes down to just being accurate and giving them the most information in that one image by making it more of an infographic style image, having an image but putting a lot of text and graphics on top of it, that's gonna increase the conversion rate and give you more information to convey to the actual shopper. Now here is where Helium 10 actually talks about infographic images. Basically they're saying you should include dimensions, material details, installation method. Since there's a limited amount of space available, keep it simple, keep it bold, and informative. And I highly agree with this because you don't want to clutter your images with a bunch of text, because if there's a whole bunch of text, then none of the text will get read and it'll be too small and it's just overwhelming and they'll just end up scrolling past it. So you want to keep the wording minimal and really just focus on maybe 2 or 3 key points from that image that you want to make them know and address concerns, right? Address any kind of features and benefits that you have to give to them. And Helium 10 really tells you to focus on the features, but I really tell you to focus on the benefits. Let's just say the feature is it's very soft, right? It's a bath mat and it's very soft. So you can feel comfortable, warm and cozy and relaxed in your bathroom. That's the benefit, is how does it actually relate to you? This is soft, so you can feel very comfortable, warm and cozy. So telling them the benefits is a lot more impactful for them than just telling them, yeah, we have microfiber bath mats. Now Helium 10 here says, set or bundle includes. Now this is basically showing a what's included type of image, all what's included, the plug, the power cable, it's kind of the carrying bag. I highly agree with this recommendation here because you definitely want to, again, be accurate and clear in what they're going to be getting, set the expectations properly, Now here's where Helium 10 says features. Now they talk about the features again. Take my advice, go a step further than the features and talk about how this actually relates to the customer, the shopper, what does this feature actually do to their life? So in my opinion, this image right here is a little bit too cluttered. It's got too much text right here and it's really small font size. So it's really not that powerful, defining what is the feature of your product, what product attribute allows for that feature, what problem does it solve. So that's really where you should focus more on, what problem does it solve, because that's more benefit language. It's actually how it's going to actually impact the shopper's life. And before I continue on with this Helium 10 blog post, let me tell you who I am and what kind of services we offer inside our Amazon marketing agency. If you don't know me, my name is Ian Smith with Evolve Media. We're an Amazon marketing agency that helps sellers boost the conversion rate of their listings using photo and video content. We actually put many of our conversion rate boosting strategies into our free Amazon listing checklist. You can get access to this by going to zonchecklist.com. At Evolve Media, we help sellers rank higher, get more reviews, increase their PPC return on ad spend, bring in new customers through off-Amazon marketing strategies, and we even help sellers obtain their Amazon customer data like their names, mailing addresses, emails, and phone numbers. So if you need help with scaling up your Amazon business, then book a free call with me by going to evolvemediaagency.com. All right, so now let's continue on with the video. All right, so the next strategy Helium 10 recommends that you put into your product photos is dimension or weight. You definitely want to be very clear with what are the sizes, like I mentioned before, putting little lines and saying this is 9 inches, this is 6 inches, and then weight. It may be too heavy. Maybe it's a really heavy product and you need to be clear that this is heavier than 40 pounds or this is very light, and it just gives them more insight into the quality of your product. Next, when you're designing those infographic photos, make sure that you put a lot of icons. This is really great for breaking up the text and making it more easy to read and digestible for people to kind of see icon, body of text. Maybe that icon can kind of grab their attention a little bit better than just the body of text, but make the icon obviously relating to the body of text. Next, a zoom in effect. So this is where you could like zoom in and show a little circle on the material and say, this is microfiber, so that when you touch it, it's really soft, making your bathroom experience elevated and making you feel a lot more relaxed when you get out of the shower. So zoom in on the small attributes and little key selling points of your product and then have a little text talking about it. Next, you got your exploded feature. Now this is only gonna really be accomplished with a 3D render, but basically, as you can see here in this picture, the camera has been exploded and you can focus in on all the different components like the battery and the lens and the cables that you can use. So that only really works for certain products that have some complexity to them, and it is kind of a process to go and get that 3D render created, but you can accomplish this in other ways just by doing the whole zoom in effect or in theory, you know, with like an animated type of image. I wouldn't really recommend going animated. It just depends on what the zoom in and which feature you're trying to highlight, but this could stay or go. I mean, the whole exploded thing, it adds a cool little elevated look to your listing, but it's not really needed, and you gotta ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it gonna really convince the shopper that you're better than the competition? Now, if your product is complex and it needs some kind of instruction or how-to, then you definitely wanna include that on your listing. If they know how to use your product before actually buying your product, the chance of them actually buying your product is a lot better. If you sell a board game or a card game, tell them how to play the game. Explain it to them fully so that before they even get the game, they already know how to play it. Next is variations. So you want to show your other variations in your product photos, but you don't want to confuse them and make them think that this is included or this is the item that they're buying. So you can kind of cross-sell your different variations and do some educating with your product photos, but just be very clear in which ASIN they're actually buying because you don't want returns, right? Next is before and afters, number 9. So before and afters are obviously very powerful because you're showing the results, right? You're showing where they may be at now and where they will be if they buy your product. So these are very powerful, highly recommend them, and definitely try to be accurate. Again, don't overestimate, don't oversell and show them amazing results, and then when they don't get that, then they're gonna return your product or you're gonna have a bad review in your hands. So before and afters are great, they're a powerful tool, but use them conservatively because you don't want to oversell it and then underdeliver. So how does a lifestyle image differ from an infographic? Now, Helium 10, this is another thing that I don't fully agree on, but they kind of position their lifestyle images without text in them. I highly recommend doing lifestyle images, you know, real life images that show a living room or a kitchen or a bedroom, right? But also put in text overs and selling points and benefits. Like mix that whole lifestyle with infographic, make it a hybrid because those are going to be very powerful. Now, Helium 10 says here, studies show that having a human face in the photograph boosts conversion rates by up to 38%. That's pretty big, especially if the model is similar to your target demographic. Obviously, you need to be putting your models in your pictures. They need to be your ideal shoppers. Don't be using a male in your images if you're selling a female product, okay? It's just common sense. Now, another little insider tip here says, when shooting with models, it's easy to get carried away. So let your product be the focus of the lifestyle photo. So this is definitely true. I mean, you can kind of focus more on the model, but maybe your product was out of focus. So you need to make sure that your product is front and center main stage, and then the person is just icing on the cake. That's what's gonna give you that whole 38% conversion rate boost. All right, now the last thing I wanna tell you about and that this blog covers is a branded experience. It's very important if you're doing Amazon private label that you build up your brand in the process because you can build up a lot of trust, and then it's very easy to get them to come back and buy again or cross-sell them your other products in your lineup once you have that trust. You really want to build that relationship with your brand and not just fulfilling a need and selling them the product as a once-off. So what Helium 10 is talking about here is the better your images are, the more confidence and trust shoppers will instill in you. And the better the images and lifestyle images and the quality, the more you can charge for your price. But obviously you don't want to outprice yourself and then they're buying your competition. So there's a balance there of having really high quality photos and looking premium, but you don't want to be at so much of a premium that now you're just regular price because they think you're premium, so your price is this high. And so, but my thing is you want to show that you're premium, but then give them a price down here. Now, Helium 10 says, create an entire theme around your brand. You know, you have the same color scheme, the same fonts, the same sizing, the same brand guidelines to all of your photos so that if they look at your different listings or your different variations, it all matches and it's all on brand. Now, another cool thing you can do is to sequence your product picture images in the order of questions that potential customers may have when looking at that item. So like, what is their customer journey? What are the concerns that are going to come up as they're going through your listing? And that's how you kind of want to sequence your different photos. Now, Helium 10 recommends that you check the Q&A section of your competition to see what questions shoppers have in regards to this product category. Now, if you're going into a fresh new place, a new niche that there's not much competition, then you're going to to need to focus group this, where you're going to need to ask people to look at your listing, look at your product, and tell them to give you insight into what are their concerns, what questions do they have, and then once you spend some time focus grouping this, then you can figure out what is the average customer journey, and then you can create and design your photos based on that and lay them out based in the sequence of questions and concerns that they have in their head. But that's all I got for you with this Helium 10 blog post. Hopefully you got some value from this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.